Hi, we are Team 9, Ripple Effect. In this video, we'll be demonstrating how to assemble our mesquite bean harvester. The first step involves mounting the two lower motor mounts onto the hook frame. In this case, two 3/8 bolts that are 6.5 inches in length are used to connect the mounts to the hook frame. The appropriate nylon nuts are then screwed onto the bolts to fix the lower motor mounts in place. For this step, two adjustable wrenches are used. One holds the bolt in place while the other is used to screw on the nuts. These two mounts serve as a platform for the motor to be secured onto the hook frame. Next, the lower pillow block mount is bolted onto the hook frame. A 6.5 inch long 3/8 bolt is again used to connect the mount to the hook frame. A nylon nut is then screwed on using an adjustable wrench. The lower pillow block mount is used to fix the pillow block closest to the motor in place. It also helps align the bearing with the shaft of the motor. The motor can now be placed within the two lower motor mounts. Once the motor is in place, the two upper motor mounts are bolted down to the lower motor mounts using four 3/8 bolts that are 1 inch in length. Each bolt is hand tightened at the same time to avoid any misalignment of the bolts. An adjustable wrench is then used to screw the bolts in the rest of the way. The upper motor mounts are used to fix the motor in place and prevent it from sliding out. This is very important since the hook will be experiencing heavy vibrations. The first pillow block is then mounted onto the lower pillow block mount using two 1/2 inch bolts. Again, the two bolts are hand tightened at the same time to help align the pillow block. An adjustable wrench is used to make sure the bolts are tightened all the way. The bolts may need to be loosened again to help align the shaft with the two pillow blocks. Once the shaft fits through, the bolts can be tightened again. The pillow block helps protect the motor from the vibrations and maintains the correct position for the rotating shaft.
Before adding the second pillow block onto the hook, we first added the first pillow block onto the hook and inserted the shaft with the offset mass. Both pillow blocks along with the shaft and the offset mat needs to be aligned. The next pillow block is inserted to the shaft and is adjusted for the 1/2 inch bolts. Once the pillow block and the 1/2 inch bolts are in place, a wrench is helpful to tighten the 1/2 inch bolts to secure the pillow blocks from slipping off. Next, we use an Allen key to tighten the shaft collars to prevent the offset mass from slipping off. There is also 2 other shaft collars placed in the front and at the end of the second pillow block to prevent the shaft from slipping off.
Here we are applying the cut pieces of a polycarbonate sheet and are applying it onto the hook assembly so that it surrounds the offset mass. L brackets were used to hold the polycarbonate case sheets together and were screwed with nuts. The case surrounding the offset mass was implemented to provide the user a safety measure from potential danger from the high-speed offset, while also giving the rotating piece protection from branches. The battery case was 3D printed into the makerspace and was used to secure the 12-volt batteries in place onto the hook assembly. The holes were designed to prevent any possible overheating that the batteries may experience, and it was then attached to the hook frame with the screws of size 3/8 inch diameter and 3 inches in length.
To start up the electronics, look at the bottom of the speed controller. The clamps for the positive and negative ends of both the power supply and motor are latent. Use a screwdriver to clamp conducting wire into these clamps. Place the speed controller and its contents into the speed controller case. You can use glue to keep the dial in place. Then place the lid and screw it into place. Once the lid is on, place the dial knob. Place the 2 9-volt batteries into the case. Cover the exposed wires with electrical tape to prevent them from touching. Then slide the wires through the circular holes and push the batteries inside. Remove the electrical tape and tie the 2 red wires together. Then attach another wire extending from the tied ends of the exposed wire to the speed controller. Do the same for the black wires. When connecting the battery wires to the speed controller, make sure the dial is turned all the way to the left. This will ensure that the device does not power on while setting up the device. After installed, pressing the green button on the speed controller should power on the device, and turning the knob will adjust the speed of rotation.